Hi, I'm Lauren.
And I'm Christina.
And this is our podcast,
Let's Chew the Fat. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, welcome back to our podcast. Today, we're going to give you our best pieces of advice for international students, which I feel like is just going to be a summary of the past 70 episodes, everything we've gathered throughout this entire podcast. And yeah, we'll get into that later, but for now, the weekly recap. What was the core of this past week?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I guess my highlight would be spending a weekend at my friend's house. She lives here with her parents, so it felt, and her parents are like super nice and funny and everything. So for me, it felt like I was kind of at home, you know, because like there were people. And it was really nice to not have to cook for myself for once, and I just like turned my brain off for the weekend, and that felt really nice. Because we are kind of towards the like middle of the semester, right?
Surprisingly, yes.
So it makes sense that like I need a little bit of like reminder of home or something.
That's true.
What about you?
I don't know. I was thinking about this. The only thing that came to mind was our camera success.
Was it?
That was on
when
Friday.
Was it?
That to me was a highlight because we introduced this topic in the last episode. We were trying very hard to get a camera. We kept going to this one store that had like gone viral on TikTok because this guy was selling, for God's sake, selling a bunch of his cameras. Every time we went 3 times. It was unsuccessful. The third time we went was on Friday. We weren't able to get a camera there, but in the end, he sent us to another store, which we kept going back and forth between thinking, this is the time we're going to actually get a camera, and then thinking, no, not at all. Because at first, we were happy because he was open. Big success. And there wasn't a super long line, which was also a big success. But in the end, we went in, he didn't have any cameras, like nothing that we would want, and that was within our price range, I guess. And so we thought, okay, this is not going to happen. Then we went to the store, which I thought was going to be way too fancy. Like, it looked super nice. I was like, there's going to be nothing in here for us. But in the end, we both got cameras, and it was perfect because the batteries was included. They were also able to give us the film right then and there, so we knew that the batteries existed, the film existed. We would be able to develop the pictures like there if that was necessary. Like, we weren't buying a camera that in the end wasn't going to work. So that was exciting. That was a success.
I agree. It was a roller coaster of emotions because we kept going back and forth with like buying one, not buying one, because as Lauren said, like in the first store, like the original one, quote unquote, honestly, for the third time we were going there, I was like, well, I'm probably not gonna buy a camera. Like, that's fine, maybe he won't be there or he won't have a camera. At this point, the whole story with the guy is a bit confusing, maybe even a controversial, because I love him. He's such like a cute man, and he knows a lot about photography. So if you want to go there to like chat to a person who knows a lot and like has experience from,
he loves to chat.
Yeah. He does, from like the some years in the past, like it's a great opportunity. But I didn't like the way he kind of was marketed. I don't know if it was like his fault or the people who posted the TikToks, because honestly, you could not buy a camera there. Or it was weird because when we were there for the third time, Laura went with us. It was her first time. And so she kept asking about like individual cameras because we was saying, I don't have anything. And then when Laura pointed somewhere and asked, he was like, yeah, this one, but blah, blah, blah. And
there was always an excuse as to why you wouldn't want the camera.
Exactly.
Basically.
And I was like, you're not selling this to me. Like, you should be like showing what you have. It was very confusing. So I thought he doesn't have anything, but then when Laura was asking, like, he did. So we think he doesn't actually want to sell his cameras because he has I would say thousands of them, but like in a collection. Like what we saw in the store, we were like, oh, why is nobody buying a camera? Like there's so many, they're beautiful. And then he said, that's not for sale, that's his collection. So I just didn't like that he kind of gives the impression of like you can buy a camera, because even when we went for the second time, he said, give me a week before I like fixed some other ones or something, and I will have more. So we thought he would have more cameras, but I don't know. It was very
like,
weird.
Some of them he very clearly says like, I don't sell those are my collections. But then there were others that he did say technically he was selling.
But he wouldn't even like talk about it. I was like,
so no, you don't want this.
So you're selling this one, even the ones he showed us that we could have our own lens, like that was the only camera that he kind of talked about, and I got the feeling we could buy it. But still, it was weird. Like, he would leave it in my hands for like 5 seconds and then like take it back. He wouldn't even, I reached for it like 2 times because I thought he was like giving it to me to see. And then he was like, it was really weird. Yeah. But luckily, at least he was nice enough to like send us to another store. Yeah. And so we went there. It was fancy. And then we saw a couple of cameras. They were like beautiful. We knew which ones were for sale. Like, they were nicely put out. And then Lauren picked out one, and I liked all the expensive ones, obviously.
I mean, yeah, those were beautiful.
But there were like 2 shelves. The bottom one was like cheaper ones, and then the top one was like really expensive ones. The guy in the store like told us that. He was like, check it out and let us know. And then on the bottom shelf, I was like, okay, I really like this one. We was like looking at it, we were Googling what the pictures from the camera look like, and I was like, oh, I really like this one. Like, if I would buy one, it would be this one. And so I got kind of hopeful. Then he told us the price. I was like, okay, no, that's too much. And then again, I was like talking to the girls. I was like, should I buy it? Because I mean, it wasn't an insane price, but it was more than I thought I would spend. Plus, you have to buy the film, and I thought I would have to buy a battery because it has a little bit like specific battery, but then he said it's included in the price. So in the end, I bought it. I mean, I can even show on the video. It's beautiful. It's from Japan. But you know what's been the most difficult thing about this?
Translating the Japanese?
No, that was actually pretty easy. The most difficult thing is not being able to use, or not being able to use it, but like I haven't used it yet. And I was thinking that the first time I might use it is to take it to the concert on Friday, because we're seeing Gracie Abrams. I'm scared.
What if they take it away from me?
Oh, I mean, I don't think so, because Laura went to concerts with the camera.
Yeah,
I think
in my mind at concerts they can take away everything.
I'm more scared about like the lighting, or like if you could see something on the camera.
Oh, that's the thing. We don't know. Like, until we get the first one, like the first 36 pictures developed, we're not going to know if we're doing everything right or everything wrong.
But that's fine, I guess. And I mean, I'm taking it to Portugal for next week, because on Saturday I'm leaving to go to Portugal for a week. So for
Nobody's
that,
surprised.
I'm really excited. But so far it's kind of working out, because we don't have, I don't want to jinx it, but so far we don't have any presentation. Like stuff. I mean, we're supposed to work on one, but like it's not presenting stuff.
No, you chose a good week. And then classes are
exactly 2 classes have been canceled. So far, so good. My mom knows. She always knows.
She knew.
So I guess that was the week.
Well, yeah. And another thing that I wanted to mention, it's not relevant, but we had like 5 days off. So basically, from the time we recorded on, we didn't go back to class. So that was nice, like having that 5-day weekend. We always have a 3-day. So now, for it to be special, we had to have a 5-day.
Well, we had one extra day only, right? Only Thursday.
But that's not relevant. I like to look at it.
I mean, it was
we only
nice.
Had one day when we would have classes, but we didn't.
It was nice because we had the classes like Monday, Tuesday, and then the rest of the week was off. So that was nice. That's true.
Had a nice little picnic. Yeah.
So for the main part of this episode, we've decided to try to gather our best pieces of advice for international students. And give it to.
You didn't ask.
Although
But here we go.
I've had kind of a trouble. Like, I thought I would be better at
Me
it.
too. I was struggling to come up with.
Right? And I've been here, like, this is our 3rd year.
Well, the thing is, I kept coming up with stuff, but then I was like, no, we already did an entire episode on this, you know? But I guess it's just, that's why I said it's like a summary.
Yeah.
A summary of everything.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what you came up with, because,
Yeah.
I mean, I had very, like, couple of points, like 2 or 3, that I, like, had in my head, because I think I thought of it, like, a couple of weeks back, and I somehow kept it in my head. But, like, in general, when I was like, what would be the biggest advice we could give somebody, what would you tell them?
I just, like, basic stuff. Like, my biggest piece of advice, like, the first thing that came to my mind was to not be hard on yourself in the beginning. But we've talked about this
I kind of have one
so often,
like
but
that
that's
too.
the first thing I have on the list. To, like, it is difficult, so it's okay if you struggle, and to not stress about it, because that will just, like, make the first couple of months of living abroad even harder.
I have more, I think, like, practical things.
That's what I tried to move towards in the end.
I mean, I guess that's good if you have, like, more the
Yeah.
abstract ones, whatever we want to call it, and I have, like, the practical
Yeah.
ones, so maybe we'll nicely piece it together. Okay, so, I mean, maybe we can start with the one you said, because I wrote down, like, be easy on yourself. And I want to say during the whole thing, not only in the beginning.
That's true.
Because, I mean, the beginning especially, because for me, I felt bad about myself in certain moments, because I was like, how am I not doing better at this? How is it possible that my friend who went on Erasmus is having the best time, and I'm over here, like, sad, crying, feeling like this was a mistake and I'm not strong enough for this? So kind of be, like, gracious with yourself. And I have one more, like, thing connected to this, which is, for example, like, with the language or meeting new people, don't feel pressured to either do it in general or do it, like, right in the beginning and, like, very hard. Because I think I did a good job with this in the beginning, because I was like, I have 4 years for this. I don't have to speak perfect Spanish within a month. I don't have to meet 20 new people within a month, because you have time. And I mean, even if you don't want to, you know, like, recently we've been talking about wanting to improve our Spanish and forcing ourselves more with speaking in Spanish, like, for example, with our friends. And I have come, like, it's been 2 years, and only now do I feel more confident. I mean, it was, like, a continuous thing, but now I don't really feel scared to talk to people in Spanish in class. Like, of course, I'm not loving presentations in Spanish in front of the whole class, but honestly, this second time we had the presentation, I didn't even really prepare.
And I wasn't nervous.
No.
I was so happy.
And so it'll come with time. And I was thinking, even if it doesn't, like, going abroad for me initially, it was about, like, improving the language, obviously. But even technically, even if you don't learn the language, or at least perfectly, you still have and get so many experiences from that. And it doesn't mean that the experience is not worth it, or you didn't use it enough, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and especially in the beginning, I feel like even just by doing, like, day-to-day things, you're gonna learn the language more. Like, the thing is, we're now at a place where me going out and, like, buying groceries and stuff, I'm not gonna learn Spanish doing that, because like, I have that Spanish now, like, day-to-day Spanish. But in the beginning, even that is gonna be, like, a little bit of a challenge, I guess, or, like, scary. Even if you can do it, like, a little bit scary, like going to the post office, trying to organize something there, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's enough. Like, don't put even more pressure on yourself too. I feel like this is bad advice. Is this bad advice?
I don't think so.
I feel like there's so much, like, everything is new in the beginning. You don't need to add even more new things.
Exactly. That's the key thing, because now that we feel comfortable here, we can put ourselves in kind
More
of like
uncomfortable.
exactly, because
Yeah.
now like we are steady and like we kind of eliminated a few of those situations,
Yeah.
so we can take on more now, you know, and it
Agree.
kind of came like naturally, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, another one, I feel like it's connected to this. I feel like we've also already talked about it, but I mean, this is for life in general, but I'm just gonna like focus on international students, is don't compare yourself to others. Like, especially in the beginning, it's easy to think that everybody else is doing better. Nobody else is doing better. Well, maybe like some person somewhere, but most people are also struggling. Like, even if it's not international students, like the change from whatever your life was before to like university life is a big change for everybody. So even people who didn't move to university from a different country, they're also struggling. Everybody's gonna look like they're okay because nobody wants to talk to, you know, in the beginning, everybody's also like, they're all strangers. And you're not gonna go up to a stranger and say, hey, I'm really struggling. So everybody's gonna put up this front as if like they're doing okay. And once you get to know people, you'll realize that everybody was having a hard time. So like focus on yourself. Don't compare yourself to others.
I have one that we kind of mentioned.
We're saying this about everything we're saying.
That's true. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, research your weather for the city that you go to study.
Yeah, don't go with your gut feeling. Your gut feeling is wrong.
Exactly. I mean, I did research like a tiny bit in the sense of I looked at, I think it was the university's website. Like it was the, I guess, before arrival something. I don't know. It was a webpage of our university. And there were the average temperatures of each season, or like the lowest it can get and the highest it can get. And I swear there was no lower temperature than like 12 degrees. So I was like, well, that's great. I don't need any jackets. I don't need, you know, and that's wrong. That is wrong. So just research it. You don't have to go crazy, but like, you know, maybe the data wasn't recent, but it makes no sense because it's getting warmer and warmer because of global warming. So I don't know. So just, you know,
bring a jacket.
Yeah. And maybe I can also say bring an umbrella wherever you go, unless it's a 100% no rain country, which I don't even know if it exists. Maybe, no, I'm not going to say anything here because I don't want to sound stupid. But bring an umbrella because it's such like an easy thing. But I was just thinking about it. What if you don't have one? Like, how do you move around? I never thought an umbrella is such an important thing.
I feel like, no, I did bring one. I don't know. I remember going a long time without an umbrella. I think because the one that I brought broke and then I needed a new one. Very essential, yeah.
I don't, like, it's such a stupid thing. I guess maybe if you have like a good jacket, you can maybe survive a couple of minutes outside. It also depends on the strength of the rain.
I love that we're just going into the necessity of an umbrella.
But like if it's raining heavily, you just can't like get out, especially for me because like I walk around a lot. Like I walk to university, to the sports class, you know, so
and it's an easy thing to think like, oh, I'll get that when I'm there, but you won't. You have other things to deal with. Just
I'll talk about it in a bit.
When you're packing to move to a different country, don't only think logically, also think a little bit sentimentally. What I mean by this is like bring everything you need rationally. Like bring the clothes, bring the shampoo, bring it all. But also bring like 1 or 2 sentimental items. Maybe this is pictures, a photo album, I don't know, the scarf your mother knitted, anything like that. Because yes, you need all of the stuff that you logistically need, but you're also going to want to have something like sentimental to like decorate your room with or look at on your desk.
Yeah, I did bring pictures in the beginning. I mean, I think I brought too many, which was unnecessary. So I did the opposite. I took some home and kept just like a few here. But it's nice. Or my blanket from Canada that I have. I'm really happy that I brought it. And I almost didn't bring it because I was like, it's kind of a big item.
That's the thing.
But in the end,
like when stuff wasn't fitting in my suitcases, like I wanted to throw like all of the sentimental stuff out. But in the end, it was nice to have like 1 or 2 pieces.
What you kind of mentioned before was I know some people might like use the logic and say, I'm not gonna bring a shampoo, I'm not gonna bring a conditioner, like hygiene products, this and that. I will buy it there. But let me tell you, I am so glad that I did bring all of these things. I mean, okay, if you don't care about what shampoo you use, like you literally just go and buy whatever you find, I guess you're good. But for me, for example, it's so nice to have these things because I don't think I'm like very particular, but like for example with, like I said, shampoo and conditioner, I like using a certain brand or like certain type of these because of like my scalp type. And so having to like look for things here and the brands and maybe compare the prices and even where to buy this, because like probably there are different stores than in your country or hometown, and in your hometown you know where to go, you know where to buy things, whereas in other countries like you might not know. And so to have to deal with all of these things right in the beginning, like literally when you come, because like if you don't bring any shampoo and you can go without washing your hair maybe for a week, like you
need to get it all within the first couple of days.
Exactly. And I think that can be really, really, really stressful. So I was glad that I brought all of this. I mean, you don't have to bring 5 bottles. But you know, to have one or at least like the traveling pack or something, it was really helpful for me.
Yeah, agreed. I did that too, and I was glad I did that.
For some reason, I can't think of any other things than shampoo and conditioner. I mean
deodorant.
All hygiene products.
I still haven't found this. Well, I still haven't found good deodorant here.
Yeah, I mean, even a toothpaste. I brought my own. The thing is, I still bring it to this day. I still bring toothpaste. Oh. And I mean, toothbrush too, because I use the electric one. And I that's the thing. I wouldn't know where to buy the heads here.
I haven't figured that out.
Maybe on Amazon, but
not the ones that fit
at
mine.
home. You have an electric toothbrush?
No, not anymore. Because I can't find, well, this is also an issue in Switzerland. In no country can I find the little like toothbrush that fits on mine anymore. I don't know if they like made a new version of it and discontinued.
I mean, you can try Amazon, but
yeah, I could try it in Spain. That's true. Yes, and then the next one is something that I didn't do, but I do wish I did, is to not right when you get here, but like within the first month or so, to like start doing some sports or join a book club or something like that. Not even for the reason of like trying to meet people, but just so you have something to do that's not university, and so you get like a little bit of additional structure into your life. Because in the beginning, all I was doing is going to class or sitting in my room, or maybe once in a while, forcing myself to like get out of my comfort zone and like meet new people. Like that's all I was doing. And when I wasn't really socializing, like I didn't have any like hobby for myself, you know, outside of the house. So I would say whatever it is, a Pilates class, yoga class, anything to get you out of the house and give you a little bit of structure and also give you a little bit of like normalcy, because you just left all of your hobbies and everything behind, you know?
I 100% agree, because for me, what was difficult was in the beginning, like the first few weeks, was that I didn't have anything like in my schedule. And so I had a lot of time to just sit here and think and stress about things and think about my feelings too much. Whereas once we started our Pilates classes, was it the first year?
Yes, but like the very end, we didn't start until like,
I think we were going in November.
Yeah.
And then we came back and did the second semester.
Yeah.
And then last year, first semester
changed
as well.
Yeah.
Right. And that was really nice to have at least like one thing, whatever it is, like you said, a book club or a sports class, like whatever that is like regular, and you're kind of quote unquote like forced to go because either you paid for it or it's just a regular activity. And I guess it's also great because there's people.
Yeah.
And
even if those people don't become your best friends.
Exactly. You don't even have to socialize with them, but just like being around people, because like I said, I spent a lot of time here in my bedroom, like by myself. And me being used to a big family, or like if you know, where a lot of women are in my family, so we're loud and like there's always something going on, and going from that to a silent room by myself, like that was hard. And I wasn't closed here all the time. Like I went out for walks or for coffee, but that's still being by myself, so it's a really good thing to do. What I also recommend doing is bringing some kind of hobby with you here, whatever it is. For example, for me, I have my own Czech podcast, so I brought my mic to be able to maybe continue doing that. Or I brought the coloring book or mandala. That's what we call it. I don't know. And crisscross puzzle.
What's that?
Crossword? No, crossword. Sorry. Crossword puzzle. And my pencils. What are the colored ones called? Coloring pens? No.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. So I would have at least something to do here. Because like I said, in the beginning, you spend a lot of time by yourself. I mean, unless you're the soch and like you go out and talk to everyone. Don't. But some people don't. So it's nice to have something like to do here, because I mean, I was watching a lot of like shows in the beginning, but so you have something else. Maybe bring some books, because I also brought books, which now I would like to switch to Kindle, but we'll see how that goes, because you know, books weigh a lot.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to have something to do here, to spend your time on.
No, that's a good point, because I didn't do that. And at some point, the mother of a friend of mine, she literally sent me a puzzle, and that saved my life.
That's nice.
I'm gonna struggle to explain this, but this is not so much about, well, I feel like a lot of these were based on like the beginning of studying abroad. This one just is for all 4 years, or however many years you're studying abroad. First impressions are worth nothing, which is a controversial statement, but I mean it in the sense of don't like panic immediately. Like when you start university, you're going to have a bunch of new classes. You're going to have, with like after the first week of classes, you're going to think that you know what to expect with these classes. You're going to start panicking because some seem difficult. You're going to start panicking because some seem like they're a lot of work. You're going to have first impressions of professors and think like, oh, he seems very strict. Oh, he's going to grade like in a super strict way. You know nothing. Just go, like, see where it takes you. Don't like panic after the first week, the first month of classes, because probably everything's going to change. In our experience, the classes we were scared of turned out to be fine. The classes that in the first week we thought, oh, this is going to be easy, turned out to be hell. So just go with the flow and don't panic like right after arriving.
Now, on to the practical side of going back and forth. I mean, I have like 3 points that I want to say about this. But first of all, book your flights early.
I never do this.
Or at least like look at the price, because it doesn't mean I book all my flights like for the second semester in September, like within the first month, but I at least like look at it, because I mean with Ryanair specifically, like they change the price every day, honestly, multiple times a day, but at least like have a little overview, and if the prices are good or whatever, just book it early, because it'll also like take one more thing off of the list that you have to worry about, especially like the later it gets, like you have exams and projects and stuff, and it's nice to know. Also, it's really nice to know when you're going home.
I was going to say, try to figure out the date when you're going home as soon as possible. Like talk to teachers about the exams, like try to figure that out too.
Because I think it gives you some sort of sense of what's the word, like
something
temporariness, in the sense of like in the beginning I really was excited to go home. I needed to go home. Like the first semester was tough, and once I had the flight, I was like, okay, this is the date I'm going on. I know it's happening. I'm not gonna get stuck here, so that's helpful.
That's a good one.
second thing is, you were talking about packing, and don't pack everything you have. Leave something at home. That is very important, because I mean, take a good amount of things with you, because I think I took
too little. Yeah.
You took too little. I took maybe a little bit too much. I mean, it was good to have things here, but
she had a lot of shoes.
That's true. But when you go back home, you don't have anything to wear. Luckily, I have my mom and my sister.
I was gonna say I wear my sister's clothes.
I steal their stuff. But maybe if you don't have siblings, or you don't have the same style as your mom or dad or your sisters, because I also steal stuff from my dad. I was struggling. I would wear the same thing for a month, because I didn't leave anything at home. I only left like either stuff I wasn't really wearing,
that's crazy,
or my least favorite ones, or something that wouldn't even fit me anymore, I guess. And so I came home really surprised. So just leave something at home, because you will buy some things abroad for sure, even if you aren't a shopaholic or whatever, like you will still buy some stuff. And so leave something at home, at least the basics, or like one piece of every, like one pair of jeans, one jacket, whatever, you know. So you have something to wear when you go home. And the third thing is connected to traveling, because this last time I came here, I only came with a backpack. Because usually, I mean, the first time I came with like 2 gigantic suitcases, whatever. And then from then on, I would only travel with a carry-on, which was fine, but technically unnecessary. Because I didn't, like I said, if I left some things home, I wouldn't have to like take it back and forth. And this last time, for the first time, I only came with a backpack. I mean, it's a pretty big backpack. Yeah. So buy a good backpack and then travel only with that, because it was so much easier. Like I didn't have to, you know, drag stuff around, and I literally just had my backpack, maybe a little fanny pack, so you have like all your documents easily accessible. But it was super practical, and I will try to do that every time from now on. I mean, this time will be different because I'm taking everything home because we're going on Erasmus next semester, but I'll try that.
Yeah, that's good advice. Okay, so the next one that I have written down is that if you're studying in a foreign language, like in a language that's not your mother tongue, to tell the professors. Like, that's
our biggest life hack.
Just tell them, like, I mean, you can do whatever you want. Maybe like you can even send them an email beforehand. We like to just like attend the first class, and then at the end of the class go to the professor and tell them always the classic, you know, we're not from here, this is not our mother tongue, so maybe we'll struggle at times to express ourselves, maybe we won't understand something, just to let them know. And I feel like it makes us feel a lot better, like that they know, because I'm always scared that they think, you know, that they will call on me to like improvise, and I don't know, this has happened to me, never, I don't know why this is a fear of mine, but it makes me feel better that they know. It is, I don't know, I feel like it's also just good to like tell the professor so they're aware of it if you have to hand any like assignments in. It's just good to like establish that in the very beginning.
No, I wouldn't have thought of that, but it's a really good idea. And it reminded me of, I think my therapist told me that like right in the first year, because she also studied abroad, and she told me that if I'm scared that I won't be able to complete an exam or whatever, like I should go talk to the teacher, because she did that. And she gave me like some specific example that they had like weekly little tests, and she talked to the professor, and they gave her like a little bit of like extra time. And it's a really good thing. We do it literally with every Spanish class we have. And it doesn't mean like we will get extra time, whatever. But it's comforting to know that the professor knows it's not your first language. So like you won't get bombarded, or like if the teachers are sensible, like they will take that into consideration.
Not with like special, like we don't want any special treatment, not at all, but just...
to know that we're trying, and maybe we like not saying something right, it doesn't mean that we're stupid. We're maybe just not being able to like express it well in that language.
And if she asks us something and we don't answer perfectly, it doesn't mean that we didn't understand the concept she was teaching. Maybe we didn't have to like,
or that we didn't listen or something, you know?
Yeah. And also, like, in our experience, like, every teacher has been great with that. Like, they've always been like, oh, no problem. Like, we're here to learn. If you ever, like, don't understand something, just let me know. I can, like, repeat it to you. Like, we can do. Or they also always offer, like, tutorias. Like, one-on-one if we don't understand something that they're saying. So they've always been great.
And even if you think you do need some sort of like a quote-unquote special treatment, just go and ask. Like, it won't hurt if you ask in a like polite and respectful way. Exactly.
We got to use a dictionary for the fun. In the end, we didn't really need it, but like, it was so comforting to us knowing that we were able to use it. And we really didn't think she would let us because she was kind of a strict
and she
teacher.
even let us have our phones, which was
we could use the dictionary on the phones, and so it's worth asking and letting them know.
Sure. I have one last thing, and that is, I was thinking about what kind of phrase to use or verb. I didn't come up with a great one, so I'm just gonna say, have a diary. Is there another way to, like, not follow up, but like, you know, like keep a
diary?
Something like that.
Keep up with your diary entries?
Because maybe it won't work for everyone, but there's two like good things about a diary or having a diary. The first one is that you're like writing down your memories. I guess it also depends in what way you're writing it, because I think for me especially the first like 2 diaries I wrote were like really heavy, and I don't think I shared a lot of like nice memories, but it was more for me venting as a therapy, because I had some mental health issues, and it was really good for me to just, whenever I felt weird, bad, or I was either about to have a panic attack or I was in the middle of one, I would take out my diary and I would just write. And it doesn't mean it will solve everything, but at least in the moment as I was focusing on what I was writing, it helped me like not concentrate on the fact that I am having a panic attack, or it would just help me because I would like write it out. And I just really recommend it. And it doesn't mean you have to write down stuff every day, because especially now that I'm doing a lot better, I don't write a lot in there, and I just like every now and then I remember and I'm like, oh, maybe I should like write some things down. So now I just use it every now and then, but it's a great way to, like, if you don't have maybe someone to talk to, or, you know, if it's in the middle of the night, it's just really good to have one. And I wasn't the type of person to like write a diary. Like in high school or middle school, I was just, what would I write, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But now it was useful. So maybe just try it, or it doesn't have to be diary. Maybe just like grab a paper, write it out, and then throw it out if you don't want to keep it.
Or video diary, like literally just you.
Exactly.
Filming yourself venting. Yeah. I have like 3 more. Can I just quickly?
Ahead. For sure.
So the first one is to not be afraid to be like vulnerable. Like, probably if you're moving to a new country, you're not going to know anybody, and you're going to want to like, it's kind of connected to the thing of putting up a front about like doing fine when you're actually not. And I feel like I'm not the most like vulnerable person, but I realized that like, but through being vulnerable, through being like honest and transparent, that's how you establish connections, and especially like deep connections in a country where you probably don't have any friends at all. So like, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. And then in terms of staying in contact with friends and family back home, to first of all like give that time. Like in the beginning, you're not going to really know how to best stay in contact with these people. But I feel like with time, you'll figure out what is best for like each individual relationship, because with some people it might work like to like text regularly, whereas with other people it might make more sense to do like a video call once a month. With other people, you might want to just like call them whenever something's happening. So to just like give that whole thing time, and then slowly but surely like establish what works with each individual relationship. And last but not least, to take care of yourself. especially when it's maybe a little bit more difficult or you have a lot going on. Like, it's the only thing, like, in this life that you can control is, like, how you treat yourself, making sure you're getting enough sleep, making sure you're eating healthily.
I was going to mention the sleep. Yeah. Super important.
And that, like, if you're going through hell, the only thing that's worse is, like, going through hell when you're sleep deprived, you know? Like,
honestly, like, remember when it was always connected to, like, visits, because the flights were at horrible times, and for me to, like, get to the airport and back, like, that would, like, take extra time. And I remember one specific time, and that was the first year in October when my dad with his girlfriend and my sister, they were here. It was awful because they were here for only 2 days, and they came, like, I'm just gonna make up the days, but just so it makes sense, like Friday midnight. We arrived home at like 3 a.m. because getting home, it was just difficult. Then they were here like that whole Saturday and Sunday, but like Monday at like, again, 4 a.m, we were leaving to go to the airport. And so very sleep deprived, very stressful, because we were trying to, like, we were in 2 different locations because my dad with his girlfriend were living in the center. My sister was here with me. So trying to coordinate that, we had to take the night bus, which it wasn't going, and all that. And so I didn't sleep a lot both of the nights, or 3 nights technically, because I think the last night before my sister, I couldn't fall asleep. Like, I was stressing out. I called my mom. And then as I was like that Monday early morning, as I was going back here, like, I was so tired, sad, because it was still the beginning and I just had my family here and they were leaving again. Like, all of this, you just make it so much worse. Honestly, sleep is the most important thing. Like, I can see it on myself. If I don't sleep enough, it just like throws me off my feet, and it
enhances negative emotions,
honestly. So that is so important, and please try to like keep your routine going, because another thing is that if you like regularly have a good routine, like, then if you don't sleep one night, it's fine.
Yeah,
like, I was struggling with that in the first year because I was lying in my bed. I was like, oh, I'm not sleeping, this is awful, like, I'm gonna be tired, I have to study, I have to have an exam, whatever. And now I know that I don't have to stress about that, because since I have like a regular routine, that 1 or 2 times, if it happens, like, I'm still good. And then I try to go to bed again, like, after that, add a good hour and get like my sleep back.
Yeah, so take care of yourself, even if there's a lot going on around you, because like, it's your biggest responsibility, and it's one of the only things you'll be able to control, and while everything around you is changing.
Yeah, and nobody else can do it for you.
Exactly. Book Club.
What have you been reading? Have you started you said you started the book?
I wasn't sure if I already said it in the last episode, but I did start the book that Christina had just read, The Marble Collector by Cecilia Ahern. I think I did. I think I did.
I mean,
talk about it in the last episode.
I don't know,
because I felt like I was also mispronouncing that name.
I think you did say the name, but I'm not sure what you said about the book.
I started it. I'm not that far in, but I'm really liking it. It's very like easy to read. It flows well. I feel like you were right about this being a good book to like.
I don't think it's like an intense story.
Yeah.
But like, it's an easy read, and like, you are interested in what's happening.
Like, there's no emotional turmoil so far, but like, it's written in a way where you will still want to continue reading. So I like that. I'm also reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo in Spanish this time. That's also so far so good. The thing is, because I'm reading it in Spanish, it does kind of feel like I'm reading a whole new book. So I'm kind of liking it.
That's good. I'm reading The Spot of Bother by Mad Haddon, and surprisingly, I like it. Like, I think it's the type of book where it's really like slow in the beginning, and then it gets, I mean, a little bit more fast paced, but also like, you get it's like, I think in romance it's called slow burn.
Yeah.
And I think this is also, it's not like romance wise, but within a book, it's like slow burn where you like get slowly more and more interested in the characters and in the story itself. And I didn't expect it, but now, like in the beginning, I guess maybe that's what happens with every book now for me. Like, unless there's something insane happening in the beginning, it's hard for me to get into a new book and to like remember what character is who and like what part do they have in the story.
Even if something like really drastic does happen in the beginning, lately I don't care until I get to the point where I know the characters. Yeah. So I feel like that's why I'm having like needing like 50 pages until I'm like in a story.
And I'm watching the masterclass from Neil Gaiman. I finally got back to watching masterclasses, but he mentioned, now if I remember, I think funny hats. And what he meant by funny hats is that he specifically gives every character something special that you remember that character by. And he was saying, like, because he's like kind of teaching the class, so he was saying like it's a great technique to do because we're like, you should try to help the reader, you know, give the reader like a little hand.
A lot of people don't do that.
Exactly. A lot of people don't do that. And a lot of people introduced a lot of character at once in the beginning. And so then for me, it's really hard to like navigate through who's who, what part do they play. So
that's why I think it's genius. But I feel like this is very common in like romance books where they introduce each character with a little like anecdote. Like they introduce each character by like quickly going back and telling the story of how the main character met this person. And like, yes, that takes a little bit more time, but I feel like that usually works. Then you're,
but I don't even think it needs to be something like elaborate. He was saying one character can have orange hair. You know, which it doesn't have to be that in this extreme, but like something, some quirk that will help you like navigate.
Or something that they say, anything really like smart. That. Yeah, that's smart.
So I think I'm like in 2/3 of the book. I'm trying to finish the book before I go to Portugal on Saturday, because I always hate like taking a book with me unless I'm like right in the beginning, because I was like, then I'll finish it fast, and like it doesn't make sense in my brain to like take the whole book if I have like some of it.
And if I have started a book, even if I'm 10 pages in, I need to also bring a second book, because what if I finish that book?
And then you never do.
And I never finish that book.
So I'm trying to like finish it now. But like I said, it's like really easy to read. And now I'm even kind of like excited to like grab the book and see like what happens next, which in the beginning of the book, it wasn't happening. Like I didn't have an issue with reading it, but I wasn't like excited to pick it up and read. And now I kind of am. So that's really good.
Success. Then we watched the fourth. Is it the fourth?
Oh, I forgot.
Season of Sex Education. The last one too.
It was wild.
It was honestly wild.
It was wild. What I was thinking during watching it was, I think they were trying to put so many things into it. I mean, I guess the good thing is that whenever something happened, it kind of resolved quickly, you know? So I guess there wasn't like the suspension like during the whole season. I mean, it only has 8 episodes, but it has 1 hour, so I guess it kind of equals to other seasons of other shows. But they were trying to put in so many like social dilemmas, social malaise, as we had an assignment on this and it was called social malaise, so I threw it in there. And
she's learning stuff, guys.
All these problems like into these 8 episodes.
Yeah.
That it was just, I was like, this is too much.
I think the reason why that happened too was because the show started off with all of these characters being at the same school. But then, like, at this point, a lot of the characters were not at the same school anymore, and a lot of their storylines weren't, like, intertwined anymore. So it did seem like a lot.
I think it's good, though. Like, I really like that they did open these topics. I'm just worried that if people are maybe like close-minded, they're gonna hate it.
I don't think they would watch the show.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the type of show that is gonna like change people's minds. It might like make people aware of things and be like, oh, I never thought of that. But I don't know if it's gonna.
But I think like it would be for people, I guess, like us who are already kind of, I'm not saying like we know about every problem, but like we're like open to things and we think about things and we're open to discussions. But if, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like we'd be like, oh, like you said, okay, maybe I've never thought about this. That's good. Or we already know about things. But like for people who never thought about it or are opposed to some kind of ideas, like they will hate it. They were a thing. It's because like it was very like explicit and very kind of like even cliche a little bit. Yeah. But I understand what the like producers and creators were trying to do. It was just very intense.
There were also a lot of cuts. Like you will have the most heartbreaking storyline and then switch to the most hilarious scene because there were so many different storylines. And that was a lot for me.
But personally. I think like I feel like in the beginning it was more like quote unquote lighthearted and funny and colorful and and then towards the end, like the last episode was just insane. Like it was heavy, it was serious. Like I think the last 2 episodes were like more serious. So in the beginning I was like, what is this? Like I'm gonna watch 8 episodes of this, but at the end it was fine.
Honestly, I kind of really enjoyed it.
In the end,
in the beginning we were being a bit judgmental, but we were like, this is for high school kids. But in the end I really liked it. What was your favorite storyline without like spoilers?
I guess the storyline of the Groff family.
I was gonna say
I know you were but I really like that because it's like a parent and a kid,
like father son,
and then mother son, mother dad. It was
just great. It was quite detached from all of the other storylines.
That's true. True. I mean, especially Adam, which I loved his storyline specifically too.
Yeah. And then I also just I forgot his name.
Who?
What is his friend?
Which one? Oh, Eric?
His best friend. Eric. I mean, that guy.
I was like, there's Ruby. There's, honestly, I don't know who else.
That guy just made the show.
I am obsessed with this guy. He's such a good
comic
actor.
relief.
He's just really,
comedic
really good.
timing. I mean, great.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say it was different from the other seasons. But I guess maybe also because why they packed so many things into the last season is because this was like the last one. But I liked, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but I liked the way they ended it. Just the ending in general. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. I liked it. All of it.
Yeah. And song of the week? What is yours?
I think my song of the week is... Give me a second. I think my song of the week is Doesn't Mean Anything by Alicia Keys. I understand it's an old song, but I rediscovered it because this was like one of the first CDs I've ever, like, I think the first CD I bought like with my own money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was going like through a nostalgic moment and I went back to it and I listened to this song and it's a masterpiece.
Okay. My song is There She Goes by The Laws.
Is it the There She Goes?
Yes, because I mean it goes with the fall season. That's and true. Time and Gilmore Girls, which I'm watching right now. So it's a nice song.
Love it.
Okay, thank you for listening. We hope you maybe took
some advice. Unsolicited advice.
Episode. And if you have any maybe for us or for other international students, let us know. You can do it on our Instagram, 2 Strangers, 2 Friends, or is there any other place?
I mean, we can put it as a question on Spotify.
That's
and
true.
You can answer it.
That's true. Too. So if you go to the episode, it should show up up there. Please answer. We always put a question there. Nobody ever answers.
The other day, I went on Anchor, and there's like an option to only show episodes that have like answered questions, and I clicked on it, and there's
none. So please be aware that there are these questions for every episode. If you're listening to Spotify, there's always this like question box, I guess, like if you click on the episode There it is. And you can always respond. So we'll appreciate it, as well as giving us a review or sharing this podcast with somebody you think might find it helpful.
And if you have advice for us, I mean, we'd love it.
Honestly. So let us know, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
If you want to get in touch, you can find all of our information in the description below.